This is Jennifer. Hello.
Very nice to meet you.
Hello, lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Carrie.
Jennifer Barron with the Alliance of Women Film Journalists.
Oh, wow, lovely to meet you.
Wow.
Stand by, Jennifer. All right. This is Jennifer Marin from the Alliance for Women Film Journalists. You have speed.
Thank you. We are obviously very interested in what you do as a woman on screen. You are in this part a woman at the center of the story. How is that different from some of the other parts that you play? What does it do for you?
I suppose, yeah, it was interesting. Just the dynamic of it having three supporting actors was sort of the reverse of a lot of the jobs that I've done before. I loved this character because she was such a modern woman, and she was amazingly written by Thomas Hardy 150 years ago, and he was able to conceive of this character who was completely ahead of her time. But I think, yeah, in terms of the dynamic of working with the men, I think I felt very lucky to have three totally different actors to work with and who were inhabiting completely distinct characters. So it was a lot of fun to play with those different storylines.
In the film, you have this wonderful line about it's how difficult it is for a woman to express her feelings in a language that's invented by men. Do you feel that that's true?
I suppose in the respect of, in where she's in what she's trying to say with that line, I suppose I don't directly relate to now as a modern woman, because I think we've come a great distance. But I think the essence of it still resonates today, and that for us to be able to, you know, for me to be able to express myself or to be able to represent strong women on screen, I often have to wait an awful lot of time to find a character that's actually speaking authentically as a woman in a script, as opposed to lots of kind of two-dimensional versions of women that are put into film these days. So to wait for a well-written female character, that takes some time.
You've mentioned that Thomas Hardy wrote this character extremely well. You've also played a character that's written by Jane Austen, who's also wonderfully creative in her writing of females. Do you sense a difference in their approach or their qualities?
I think I feel like, well, the characters that I played in Austen have been slightly smaller roles and slightly less. I think what's great about this book is that Hardy really dives into her mind. There are whole passages in the book where he's just inside her head and really experiencing what she's going through. And there's a great deal of darkness and complexity to those scenes that I think Austen doesn't really... Well, the stories don't touch on that sort of thing. But in Hardy, I mean, so much of it is so much darker than what Austen really goes into. And particularly around grief and death and loss, I think particularly in this story, there's a lot more depth to the writing and a lot more kind of going on than you have in Austen novels.
I think of cinema as today's classroom. What is today's madding crowd?
Today's madding crowd?
Yes.
I suppose today's madding... I don't know. I suppose the noise, a lot of, you know, the social media and the sort of constant news cycle and the speed of everything, the way that we're constantly being presented and with flash images of, you know, the way that our society is sort of hyped up constantly and assaulted by the news and by kind of pressures of I don't know, our social environment. I suppose that's our modern madding crowd, or the way that it feels to me.
Is there
Sorry,
a female
Jennifer, we're out of
crowd?
time.
Just one more?
No, we're out of time, sorry.
Is there a female
Jennifer.
director you'd love to work with?
Yeah, I'd love to work with Suzanne Beer. I think she's an extraordinary filmmaker, and I've loved all of her work. And I've had great experiences working with female directors, and particularly I just wrapped a film called Suffragette about the women's rights movement in London. And that experience was just so great, and Suzanne's a director I've always really looked up to.
Thank you.